Awesome. Well, we're here starting a new podcast. I'm Jeremy Moore. We have Coach Saunders with us today. First podcast, so it might be a little rough, but we're going to get through it. It's called It's Not About Me. And we're going to do some leadership, some coaching, some teaching, some business people out in the community and learn a little bit more about themselves and how they became successful and how they help other people become successful. So, Coach Saunders, thanks for joining me today. Tell me a little bit about little Coach Saunders. Where did you grow up? And a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be the first guinea pig for your new podcast project. Where did I grow up? South Omaha, corner of 15th and Vinton. Formerly known, if you ever talk to my parents, they love to give a history lesson as Old League Park. Babe Ruth, Satchel Paige, all played in our backyard, which is kind of cool. Little history lesson before Rosenblatt was built. But anyways, grew up in South Omaha. Little Coach Saunders, loved to play all the sports. Played all the sports with the boys in the neighborhood. Go outside, play until the sun goes down and the lights come on, and then my dad'd be yelling. I could hear him a block away. I had to run home from the church parking lot from whatever we were doing that day. Got into high school, went to Marion, and then actually kind of started my coaching career then. My dad asked me to go help with the 6th grade basketball practice for my little brother, and I loved it. I love being in the gym with younger kids and like teaching and seeing their like eyes light up when they figure something out, which is weird because I was maybe a freshman in high school. And then Deb Graffington, my club coach for River City, would take me to like different high schools, kind of like what I do now, probably why I do it. Yeah. But she would take me to these other high schools, and we would run camps together, and it was super fun, and I got to demo everything, and so that was kind of my first taste of coaching. Then go on place at Nebraska, started coaching at Lincoln East, and just I love serving others. I love coaching. I love helping kids figure out a way to do something that maybe they didn't think they could do, and it's kind of addictive. Yeah. It really is. Like it's you're chasing something that really isn't attainable. Like you're trying to always be better and better and better, and help others be better and better and better. And every year you have new people and new problems to solve. And so, next thing you know, here I am 24 years later after college, 9 years at Omaha South, 15 years here, and loving every minute of it.
That's awesome. You've had a great career up to this point, but let's go back and talk a little bit about Tom and Rita. How did they mold you, and kind of any genetic things there with from Tom and Rita that helped you along the way, or mental things that your parents taught you?
All the things. I mean, that's a long time ago. My mom swears that my athletic ability comes from wiffle ball in the backyard. It's a funny story. If you met my mom, not really athletic. I mean, she's skied in her younger days and has done some things, skated, like figure skated. I did figure skating. But mostly she was a pianist and a very like science-minded person. Okay. My dad, trackster. He's in the Hall of Fame at Columbus High School. Went on to run track at University of Nebraska. It's actually kind of cool if you walk into Devaney and you go in kind of where the basketball main entry is. You walk in that way and you go down, you see my dad's name on the board, and then you get further down and you have my name on the board. So it's kind of neat that we're both there. But he was the big track star.
What was his event?
400. Also the 200, but the 400 was his. That's what he's in the record books for. Yeah. So, and I think he still holds the 400 record, and that was in the 60s.
Wow.
So, but I think it was on cinder. He'll tell you cinder track. Cleats were like this. It was probably uphill all the way around the track.
No carbon soles. None
of the things that bounce you higher, make you run faster. But he swore that he got faster by running on the Platte River in the sand. So obviously the sand courts. Excited for those to come back. They're missing out of our conditioning repertoire this summer. But the sand is easier on the body, and he really attributed his strength and speed to that. And he'll also say he was probably the first one in Nebraska to lift weights. So you have to ask Boyd who was first.
It
was either him or Boyd. But he said that he was lifting there before they actually had weights. So, but they also instilled a great work ethic in me. My dad still, I'll go pick up the dogs because they're my dog sitters. I'll go pick them up, and my dad's in his office working. He's still creating devices and training aids. He's a big archery guy. And so they worked. They're just hardworking blue collar people, and I think they instilled that work ethic in me because I truly I feel like I'm never really working. I truly love what I'm doing. And so I think they never complained about going to work. They never really complained about their jobs. And so I just felt like I followed a little bit in their footsteps. I found something that I love to do and keep on doing it.
I love talking to your parents at volleyball matches because they always have a little tidbit
I'm sure they have all the tidbits.
And it'd be cool to get a car ride home.
No, it's not. Yeah, they're funny. So growing up, my dad always told me I was average. And so my goal was always to can I be better than average? And so I always strived to be the best I could be as an athlete, and obviously now the best that we can be as a coach. And, obviously I want the teams to do the best that they can do. But he kept me humble that way, which was good. I never really got a big head. I thought I was pretty good at things because, of external things.
Yeah.
I was getting awards and accolades and making teams and getting scholarships and all those things were there. But at the same time, I never felt like I had ever arrived.
Gotcha.
And so got
Even
to college.
When you won Athlete of the Year?
I was. Amon Green and I were Athletes of the Year. And I think I'm still the only person who's won it, both as a player and a coach in the state of Nebraska. So I think the coach one means more to me though.
Yeah.
Because really you don't get awards as a coach unless your team does well. And so anytime I would receive anything, it's really a reflection of the team I had that year. Sometimes I wish they would just give it to the team.
Yeah.
But it's still, I hope that, former players know that anytime I'm being rewarded, it's us being rewarded.
So who are some of the mentors you've had, or can you look back and pinpoint to certain people that have really shaped you either as a person or a coach?
Yeah, I've been so lucky. I think every podcast I say this, but I have been so blessed to have amazing coaches throughout my career. While I was in college, or let's go all the way back, high school, I had Rochelle Rolfs at Marion. I had Deb Graffington in the club. And then I go to college, I had Terry Pettit, Paul Sanderford, Jeff Walls was one of his assistant coaches. He's the head coach at Louisville now for basketball. He was super influential. He coached with so much love.
Yeah.
And he was only an assistant at Nebraska, but he impacted me immensely. Kathy Noth was an assistant on the volleyball side. I worked with Myron Olderking, who was a legend out of Lincoln East for a long, long time. Then Sandy Gangrich at Lincoln Southeast. And so I've been really, really lucky my entire career to have awesome coaches to help me kind of learn and get better as I go, but also mentor me after I'm done. And so when I was done playing, my career was over. Kirsten Bernthal Booth, has received some phone calls from me. Rose Shire's got phone calls from me. John Cook got phone calls from me. And everybody in the volleyball world really wants to help and shape each other. It's not I have to be a secret and not share with others.
Correct.
And so we're a very helpful, giving culture on the volleyball side. And so I've been lucky to have great people along the way.
So you always seem like you're learning. You always seem like you're trying to get better. What made you discover that? What made you think I've always got to get better?
I was just in my office while I was waiting for us to start this. I was watching videos and getting ideas on tryout things, just different ways that we can do some things to maybe make it a little bit better in some way, shape, or form. But I think I've always been that way. I think it's probably because I was always average. So I was always trying to find a way to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm never trying to reinvent the wheel though. I'm not trying to blow everything up, start over. It's kind of we're going to try this, see how it goes. Okay. I like this part, but I didn't like this part. So how can we adjust? I feel like I'm constantly adjusting and evolving, just like our kids are evolving.
Yeah.
The game is evolving, education's evolving, coaching's evolving. And I really believe that when you stop learning, you're going to get passed up. And so I just want to always be on the edge or pushing towards the edge so that I don't ever become complacent and get passed up.
So when you're learning, how do you know that something, trial and error a little bit, but how do you know that success is going to happen?
I don't think you know. I think that's the whole part of it, right? We never know what truly is going to cause success. We know what we have to put in, but we don't know. There's no guarantee at the end of the day that it works. And so I think you have to just put yourself out there, try it. And if it's a failure, be mental note, let's not do that one again. Let's try something different. Or maybe it's a drill that's too hard.
Yeah.
You set the standard too high and they fail. Is it really a failure? No, because there's a lot of learning that takes place in failure. But maybe the next time you adjust and you make it a little bit better. I think if you stick to your core values and what you're trying to accomplish and the intangibles, I think success will follow. I don't think you should ever go out looking for success. I think you have to go out looking to be authentic and be you and do certain things really well, and then hopefully success follows.
What are your core values?
Once the once the streak ended, we lost that last one, I did a little bit of a deep dive into like who I am as a coach. And I had done a book club, and there was this lady that I did it with. She was a Canadian Paralympic coach. And she was talking about like above her door when she exits, before she goes out to the track, she has her core values above the door. And I started thinking about Doc Woodman, how he has his like second scorecard for teams. At the end of the season, holding the trophy or not, what defines success? And a lot of them say, play with joy or do this. So it's kind of like the team's core values. So I'm like, well, why can't I as a leader have a second set, like a second scorecard? And so I sat down and I did a values exercise, and my 3 are love, consistency, and optimism. And so no matter what, when I walk into that gym, if I can do those 3 things, and love isn't just like love my kids, like I love the game and I love being in the gym. And so I should act like I love being in the gym. So if I'm consistent and if I'm optimistic, then no matter what happens in that gym, I feel that we've been successful, or I've been successful on my end. And then it's hopefully that then rubs off on the kids to also be successful.
Yeah. And it seems like it's never superficial with you. It's always very deep and very intentional. And how do you get others to come along with you and buy into those core values? Because you get a turnover, you get 4 years with an athlete or a student. How do you get people to buy in?
That's a great question. Sometimes I feel like, everybody has like their superpowers. I feel like that's something that has always been kind of a part of me, but I don't really know why or how. Like, I don't know how to teach it. Does that make sense? I think good energy draws people to you. So I want to have good energy all the time. And all 3 of my values, if I'm doing them, are good energy. I'm not going to be spastic and crazy, but I'm also not going to be moping around the gym. And if I catch myself where I'm frustrated or like looking at the floor, disappointed, acting, then I'm not living to my values. And so I have to switch them. But I think if you have good energy, we get a kid when they're 13, 14 years old, and then they leave us when they're about 17 or 18. Development is the key. They might come in not buying in. They might come in selfish. They might come in not understanding team and culture. They might come in not really knowing how to work hard. Our job is to meet them where they're at and slowly bring them till they get better at the end. So maybe even after their sophomore, junior, they're still not there. We're still developing them and helping them grow and learn, because sports mimic life. And so whatever they learn in there, being challenged or failing, being pushed, whatever it might be, if we can help them learn to deal in the gym, I think it'll carry over into life.
Well, I think one of the biggest things with your first core value, love, it's very relational. How do you work on building relationships with your students? Because I see it every day of people that aren't your athletes and things like that, students, but with your athletes. How does those relationships build? Because we see them, they need to start in June and then and get to a certain point. But you're very good at building relationships. What are some tips that you might give out for building relationships?
I just think you have to care. Every single kid, I want to know their name. I want to like make contact. So I'm a big like touch, high five, knucks, pat on the shoulder, because I feel like if you can connect with a kid, touching, right, high five, whatever it might be, and making eye contact with them, that means way more than just like a good job across the way. And so taking the time to say hi to every kid, get to know names, giving a high five, giving a knucks, giving a pat on the back, giving a correction, catching them doing something well. You do any of those things, and that is going to be a positive in the day. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you just let kids walk by, you ignore them, you're doing something else, they then become second. And I feel like you have to make them number one.
So those of you that don't know, Saunders has a couch in her office that I walk by.
I swear one of the springs is broke on it.
I walk by, and that couch is never empty.
No.
It's always got somebody on it. What is it about your office, that couch? What do you think happens there?
Everybody says they have an open door policy. Like, I truly have an open door policy. Mm-hmm. And the kids, sometimes I think they come in just to distract me so that we go to class later. Like, I think they send people in for like diversion, because I do. I like to chit chat. How's your day? What are you doing? I've heard things they're mad about, tests they're failed, tests they're getting ready for. Like, I've learned, I know when there's a biology test 2 days before there's a biology test, because they're coming in my office and they're studying, they're asking questions, and they're getting ideas from each other. And I feel like, as soon as we put kids in a box and we don't let them like be kids, then we're not allowing them room to grow. And my office is it's a safe place, number one.
Yeah.
They want to come in and talk, they can. Obviously, some kids come in, others aren't comfortable with those kids in. Then sometimes you have a different group of kids, and so everybody can come in. I don't ever want to kick a kid out, but I really, truly, if I need to get work done, I have to close my door, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it always builds as the year goes on. So early in the year, not as much, might have one or two. And then as it goes, it gets to be more and more as they realize I really do want to know, like, how is their day doing? What are they doing? What's going on in their lives?
Oh.
I think that I ask enough questions to learn about them that they feel comfortable coming to me to just chat.
So that's one thing that I think separates you from a lot of people is you're a really good listener, and people come into your office or they build a relationship with you because you listen. And oftentimes people look at coaches and they're all, they're always talking or all giving instruction and things like that. How have you become a better listener, and how have you developed that trait?
I think it's a work in progress, honestly, because there's so many distractions, like an email you need to answer, attendance you have to do, cell phone, whatever. I love work mode and do not disturb on my phone, because now I only get notifications when I look for them. Not sure Casimir always likes it if he needs something done, but at the same time, it now allows me to be a better listener. It allows me to let a kid come into my office, talk, then I understand, like, okay, they're having like a pretty crappy day. Like, I need to give them a little bit of grace in the gym. Like, they might not try very hard today, and that's okay. And I think that that's really important, but I am always trying to be better at listening, because sometimes I'm listening, but I'm not hearing.
Correct.
And that's the part that I need to do a better job of. And so, trying to ask affirming questions like, oh, well, why was it a bad day versus just it was a bad day, and then getting a little bit deeper into conversation with kids so they feel more heard is something I'm still working on. But I love to hear what they're up to and what they're doing.
So those non-volleyball kids, I see a special connection with a lot of them. And I hear from parents and things like that they've never been in a class with you or been coached by you, but they have a special relationship or a respect for you. How do you gain that trust and respect from those kids that really have never had you as a coach or a teacher?
I think just saying hi to kids every day. Some of them I don't know their names, but I'm going to say good morning. If I'm coming from, the offices to go to my office and there's kids coming in, I'm going to say good morning to them every single day. I'm going to smile. I'm going to make eye contact. I'm going to let them know that I see them. Some of them I don't know who they are. Sometimes
Simple
I do,
skills.
some I don't. It's just literally like saying hi. Again, I don't always know how I do it, but I also think it's my energy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not moping around. I hope nobody can tell when I'm having a bad day. Like, I'm hoping that I always come across as the same person every single day, because I don't want any kids to be like, ooh, what's wrong with them today? Or like walking on eggshells around me. Not to say I've never had a bad day. There's always bad days, but I feel like my job is to be consistent in how I act. My job is to be the positive person, and my job is to show that I care when I'm in this building and actually wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
So I think it's energy based. I think kids like energy. Good energy is people are drawn to you. And so my goal is to have good energy.
Not be an energy vampire, right?
Not be an energy vampire, energy giver.
Bring that energy. So speaking of teaching and coaching, can you share some memorable moments in your coaching career? Some that really stick out?
Oh man, God, there's been so many cool ones. So the first one that sticks out obviously was our first state championship, the school's first one in 2015. And what also sticks out is the opposite of that in 2014, where we were on this big win streak, getting into the state championship. And then we played like it was our first time in a state championship, you know? And I remember talking to Brad Hildebrandt in the hallway before, but like, got any advice? He's like, just go play, have fun, but I think everybody was really nervous, including me. It was the first time I've been at a state championship too. Second time around, we'd been there, done that. Definitely a lot more confident going into that last game. We knew what we needed to do, and we did it. So that's one that stands out. God, the reverse sweep over Waverly when we were down 0-2. And I remember going back into the hallway and taking the team. And I remember going down on one knee and just looking up at him. Like, there have been 4 reverse sweeps on this court today, and we're going to be the 5th. That's the only thing I remember telling him. Thank God I watched some of the games that day, because legit, I think there were 2 or 3. So I don't know for sure how many there were. But I said 4, and I said we were going to be the next one. And it was just enough to spark a little bit of hope and a couple kids made a couple plays, and next thing you know, we get it done. And once you do that, you feel pretty invincible. The COVID year is a memorable year, not just because we had a great team, but because of how they gave up so much to be together, stay together, and make it through a whole season. We didn't have any kids have to quarantine. They literally gave to themselves the entire year. And I don't know if anybody in the state did that. I mean, I think if every team approached, literally in every sport, every team approached their season as a team like that team did, they would just elevate above. Like every weekend, they only hung out with each other. Like they were so close, and they were close anyway, but it was like next level close. And I think it showed when they played. And so those would probably be my top 3 coaching ones.
So what are some funny moments that you've had along coaching? You got any?
We've had some great athletes, like Lindsay Krause, great athlete. I have never seen someone fall so much over lines and trips. Like I don't even know if it's still on her Twitter or not, but she had her highlight film pinned, and it was like every time she fell, just little things like that. One time we went to a team camp in Iowa. The kids hated that team camp. But we went to this camp in Iowa, and I make them turn their phones into me. And we walked into the dorm or hotel wherever we were at, and all of their phones are like hooked and hanging from the ceiling on their charging cords, like in the hallway. Another time, I think it was Iowa as well. They got the coaches really good on that one. We were sleeping. It was Sydney and I in like a room, and there was only like top bunks, and there was like that much room to get up. They all set their alarms. Their alarms were going off down on the desk, so had to get out of bed every time to do that.
You had their phones. So.
We had their phones, so now it's like airplane mode or turn the power off. But it's usually just little pranks with the kids. I mean, we have such a great group of kids, but they're goofy and they're fun. I think that when the game isn't fun anymore, and you can't like take a joke or like mess around a little bit, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. And I think we have to let kids be kids, and they do goofy stuff, and we do a lot of fun trips. We went kayaking this last year in Lake Mead, which was awesome. We saw the Wizard of Oz in Vegas, the Sphere, which was awesome. So we have lots of cool memories that we're making. Mm-hmm. I think one thing I remember from growing up was I really loved the memories that I made. And Graf was huge with that. Graf was great about making memories. Like we'd go somewhere, we'd go to the beach, we'd go somewhere, we'd do this. Like there was always something in the trip that wasn't volleyball. And so whenever we do things here, I want to make sure that it's not all just volleyball.
It's not always about
making
memories.
Right? Well, it is a lot about volleyball. I love volleyball, but there's a lot more to it.
Correct. Those little things that somehow weave themselves into that volleyball arena that do matter. So what are some things that you're still learning about coaching and leadership?
I think it's always connecting with kids. How can we continue to connect with kids? When I think we're starting to get to a transition stage now where like they're not uber attached to their phones. And so we're getting back into that like contact, like face-to-face communication, able to have relationships that way. Other ways to motivate. I think competing is really hard for kids right now. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to just put myself out there. It goes back to youth sports. It's really hard to compete when all you do is play games, because now it's just playing games. And so we don't really know the difference between playing and competing and just playing. And so I think when we're training in a gym and we're getting better and we're competing in what we're doing there is great. But then when you actually go and you're playing against someone else, like what are you doing to impact winning? And so I feel like kids just don't know how to compete as well. So it's finding ways to get them to understand, especially after a long club season, when they're playing a ton of matches. And it always seems like there's always another match. There's always another match. There's always another match. To the high school season where, hey, you're going to get 42 matches and that's it. And there's no guarantee that there's a next match when you get to the end. Yeah. And if you want a better seed, then you've got to compete and win some of these games early on. And so really understanding what competing is versus just working hard. And I think most kids work hard, but they don't all know how to compete. And I think that finding ways to bring that out of them is something that we're constantly learning and playing with and trying.
Yeah. So you like scrimmaging?
I think there's a time and a place for it, but I don't think a whole practice should be all 6v6. No.
And I bring that up because
It's not my favorite thing.
yeah, Coach Sabawa and I sometimes we look in the gym to see if there's a scorecard out there and they're actually scrimmaging. And
I do believe you should keep scoring everything because that's how you compete, because you like winning and losing. But I love training. I really love training because as soon as we get into like game mode, I mean, you've seen I'm pretty, like I said, I keep my chart and I get up when I have to get up, but I feel like practice is preparation, right? Like we're getting them ready, and then it's like the performance is the game.
Yeah.
So we've given you all your tools. Go do what we've taught you to do. And so sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And then they don't, then I have to relook at what we did that week before and make some changes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you do that make maybe your program different or stand out as far as preseason, as far as some of the things outside of being in the gym. What are some things that you think stand out?
I think our summer conditioning program stands out, number one, because we have everybody. It's amazing. We have so many kids this year. It's awesome. But having a lot of kids also makes there's other difficulties with that, you know. But the commitment that these kids show every morning, getting here at 6:45 and like running, and then getting in the weight room and like really trying to get stronger in the weight room, and then getting in the gym and getting better in the technique side of it. So June's kind of our technique side where we're trying to get everybody a little bit better, and then July is more of our competition side where they're going to play a little bit more. But all in all, like our summer is our preparation, right? We're preparing them for tryouts. That's all we have to do right now is get stronger, get faster, get better in our technique and our skill, and then hopefully that applies to tryouts. But varsity is a camping trip, which is pretty cool. It's kind of fun.
Why camping for you? Why
the first team building thing is putting a tent together. I mean, how much more frustrating can it be for some of them?
I mean, you don't stay in like glamping lodges?
We did glamp for a little while. But that was because I swear we had lightning almost hit us. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I do keep an eye on the skies a lot. We glamped for a little bit, and we went back to our roots this last couple of years. So we have a big 14-person tent. We put all the kids in, and then I have a little like single 2-person one that I'm in. And we do a bunch of team building exercises, and setting up the tent is part one. Then we do a high ropes course or low ropes, kind of depending on what I have them set up. So that's pretty fun. This year, we're adding a little culture workshop, 3 sessions for players and coaches and a session for parents. So that'll be something different. Again, making memories, things outside the gym that we can do. But we do all program team dinner. When we travel, we try to do something fun along with the travel. When we go to Chicago, we go to the pumpkin farm. So they always it's like Bella's, but in Chicago. So just little different things.
I do like, we talked about a little bit last week. You talked about the culture program that you're going to instill this year. And a lot of people would say, well, you've been here, you've won. What do you need to change your culture? What do you need to work on your culture for? Explain why you're doing what you're doing with the culture project that you're doing this year. You don't have to explain it in detail.
No, I'll do like a superficial look at it because I really don't know how it's going to work out yet. Again, this is something that we're trying to see. I don't think we have a broken culture, but I do think that when, we won 9 in a row, there were like years that I really enjoyed, and there were years I did not enjoy, and it was because, when you're doing that, everybody wants to keep things the same, right? You don't want to jinx it and switch it, but it's like a game of telephone. So things change over those years. We had some selfishness amongst those, and then that's passing on to other people. So then once the streak ended, it was like, okay, we can relook at some things, right? We stopped glamping, we went back to tents. We can, really work it from the bottom up. And this year I was like, I thought last year was by far one of our best culture years. It was awesome. And even, we do exit interviews at the end. And so I kind of get player input on everything. It was one of our best exit interview sessions that we've had from top to bottom, varsity to freshman. But I wanted to bring in an outside person to do it because I wanted to see if we're missing anything. Again, trying to be better. And the other thing is with culture is it changes. One person changes, the whole thing changes. A new coach, it changes. We're all older. As I get older, I change, right? Like everything is constantly changing and evolving with culture. And so if we're not working on it, it's dying. And so I wanted to bring an outside person in and see what we could do as far as are we in a good place? What are some things we could do better? Again, I think we do a pretty good job. I really do, but it's not perfect. And I know that if I have one bad exit interview, I need to figure out why it was bad. And so, or one kid that quits or one, whatever, I'm always looking to find out, like that bothers me more than the 52 that were really good. You know, so I just want to make sure, like, was that an us issue? And if so, then how can we make it better for kids in the future?
So if you look back at your career and be able to go back and tell year one Coach Saunders, when you take over a head coaching job, what are some things that you'd tell yourself?
Oh man, I was fiery when I was younger. I was up and moving, and I think number one is you have to be you, right? So who I was as a player is a lot who I was as a coach. And so really, like, determining, you know, who do you want to be as a coach, and can you do that authentically? Because if I wanted to be a yeller, I would not be good at it. Like, I'm just not a yeller. If I wanted to be like a super hard, like tough nose, not good enough, like I couldn't even, I'd laugh at myself, because it's just not, like, I love the game.
Yeah.
So I have to coach that way. I want it to be fun for them. And so I think when I was younger, especially I was at Omaha South, there was a lot of teaching. And so a little bit different, right? Yeah. But I still thought I could win. Didn't matter who we were playing, still thought we could win. I get to Skutt, and I'm still kind of that up and down fiery. I think it was Adam was like, you need to sit down, right? Because I was probably overcoaching.
Yeah.
And I think the developmental side. So really, I believe in development. I believe in training and developing. I think there was a little part of me that thought we just need to play more. And I don't think that was necessarily the right answer. So sticking true to what I know and believe would be one thing I would tell myself. Be true to who I am. That would be another thing. And then the final thing would be to make sure that I show every kid that I care, not just the best ones. Yeah. Because I think it's really easy to focus your attention to your main ones. And I think, and it's probably the hardest part as a coach is, you know, if I give the best player 5 pieces of feedback, am I giving my weakest player 5 pieces of feedback? And really trying to even that out. And that's classroom too. Yeah. You know, my goal is to say every kid's name one time in a class period. Whether it's a good job or nice hustle or a high five or whatever it might be, can I say every kid's name at least one time? It's a fun little game to play.
That is. It's a good goal to have, and it shows that you're relational and shows that you care about every single person, not just the person that's hitting home runs in wiffle ball or whatever.
Hey, wiffle ball's where it's at.
It is. So kind of looking back, is there an athlete that you looked up to as a person, as an athlete yourself, or who were kind of your...
Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
Michael Jordan.
So he's the GOAT, right?
Yes.
Good. It's over now. We've
end of discussion.
End of discussion.
Cut. Get rid. End the podcast right there. So, like, best player of all time. I truly wanted to be like Mike, and so I've always looked up to everything he did. If he was doing, I mean, I remember, like, somebody said something. Oh, you have to have good calves to jump high. So I would stand on my desk in my room doing calf raises, hands on the ceiling, right? Like, he had a move where he, like, dribbled between his legs like 6 times and then pulled back shot. What do you think I was doing? Doing the same thing. We didn't have the benefit of watching girls play sports on TV a whole lot growing up. So it was Michael Jordan. Karch Karai was another one. Like, on the volleyball side, I watched Karch Karai play. My dream school growing up was Stanford, and Summer Saunders, for some reason, like, her work ethic, she was a swimmer. I just really was drawn to that, and I was not a swimmer, you know, so I was drawn to people who I saw really putting in work, and if it was in Sports Illustrated, that helped too. Yeah, because that was what you saw. You know, you didn't always have cable, you didn't always have Sports Center, you didn't have tons of sports on TV. And so it was Michael Jordan.
You know, and I think you display a lot of the same traits that we hear stories about of Michael Jordan, and in books of, like, you know, nobody realized how much time and effort and energy he put in outside of what everybody else saw. And so that's kind of what, you know, I can see from you and what you do is, like, nobody sees you reading all the books you do or in your office taking notes and learning the craft and continuing to learning, because somebody else out there is already trying to beat you, right? So you got to
always target on the back,
trying to get better. So one of our favorite people, Mike McMahon, always said, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered?
As a giver, as someone who was there for people when they needed me, someone who was a positive influence in their life. what's the other one? Like, how do you live your dash?
Yeah.
Right. And so while I'm in my dash, I hope that, when at my funeral, that's what they're talking about, like how I impacted their life in a positive way. I don't think I'm 100% on that. I guarantee you I haven't made everybody, feel great or welcome or whatever. But I mean, my goal is to be as close to perfect on that as possible. And so with that sometimes comes, failure. Like I can try to get through to kids and try to meet them where they're at. And some kids just don't want it, and some need something different. And so I think it's finding ways to find what people need so I can impact and influence in a positive way at the end of the day.
And that's great because I get to see it firsthand because my office is right here. So I get to see a lot of your former athletes, former people come in and come back and talk to you. And it's just amazing the number of kids that come back, and really because you did impact their dash, you impacted them. And so it's cool to see how they want to come back and either thank you for them or just have that little bit of touch or that little bit of Saunders magic back in,
it's so much fun.
There.
I love seeing, I think that's the other thing. I think you had a question, like how do you define success? And I think it's defined by that. It's defined on, how many weddings, like Lindsay Krause's getting married on Saturday. Can't wait to go to that. Or they're having babies and I get to see their kids and like all those things that like Jess Schlotman came back and brought her little one, and so it's just fun. I think that's where you find true. I think the older I get, the more that is truly what success is how many kids do you still keep in touch with that you've coached? I still have kids from Omaha South that I talk to. One of them, I have two of them that have actually brought their kids to our camps and I get to see them. And so I think that like at the end of the day, it's longevity, right? Like how long can I do this and impact kids in a positive way to the point where like I'm still communicating and talking to them.
That's awesome. So we have the Skyhawk Power Project going on now, and that's kind of why we started this podcast, and then it will hopefully continue to grow. But in the Skyhawk Power Project, we have the Zinc Activity Center. We have some new sand courts going in with lights and things like that. How will that impact your program?
Oh, man. Well, getting the sand courts back will be huge because right now we have about 30 kids training over at Lucky Strike, renting courts over there because obviously, like, it'll be worth it. It's 1 year. We'll be okay. But getting them back in the sand for conditioning is huge. Less impact on the joints. Also getting the beach program going, which I think really carries over to indoor. The weight room. God, the weight room I'm so excited for. Again, we have 60 kids this year. So getting 60 kids through efficiently in the weight room, in a systematic manner, having the turf area below, football was out on the turf today outside. We could have been inside doing all of our running in a more efficient manner instead of being 8 rows of 7.
Yeah.
Right. We're now in 2 rows of 2. It's going to make a huge difference. And then the courts, court that you're adding, but with the 2 training courts, now our little kid camps can fold over into there. And we have 6 indoor opportunities for kids to play on court-wise versus just 4, plus then the sand courts that we hopefully can continue to grow our beach program.
Yeah. And it's built for training mainly and learning how to get better and honing your skills. So when you look to having people join the momentum of the Skyhawk Power Project, what would you say to somebody who said, I don't know if, how would you help them, convince them to help donate and be part of the project?
Just do it.
Just do it, Nike.
Just do it.
There you go.
It's easy.
It is.
I think it's not just impacting like your kids. It's going to be something that's going to a long-lasting impact. And honestly, any impact is better than none. Mm-hmm. So I can't give a ton, give something. Yep. If everybody gives something, then we're going to be a lot closer to where we want to be and get that put up and hopefully impact more kids, get more kids in the building, impact more kids over time. Because it's not just going to be for sports. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to have PE out there. Yeah. PE in the weight room, PE on the turf below. Like we play a lot of fun games where maybe we don't want to run and chase balls through the whole football field. Now we can play them. Like Jay-Z will have his rugby kids out there, playing rugby on the indoor turf. But, we're always looking for different places. And like we get bored in the gym. Yep. We get bored in the gym and PE class playing the same games. We try to mix it up. I think we do a pretty good job. But having a turf, the ability to go somewhere where there's turf and kind of play maybe games that we would play outside, play inside would be great.
When you said it impacts every kid.
Every kid.
It doesn't matter if you're a sport, an athlete, an activity, it's every kid. And just like you impact every kid, the facility will. So it's a great thing for our community. And so we're closing up now. We don't want to take too much time of you, but who are some of the people you'd like to thank most for helping you become who you are?
Oh man, my parents, obviously. My brother, he's a good one. All my coaches like that I've had over the course of the years. Patrick Slattery, for giving me a chance here at Skutt Catholic. You, Mrs. Beckman, and Mike McMahon. All people that like took a chance on a coach who only won 56 games in 9 years.
Now how many are you up to?
I have no idea. But I just remember that number because it keeps me humble.
Yep.
Because you got to remember where you start.
56 in 9 years.
Yep.
But so what's some lessons you learned that you hope future generations never forget? You've taught these kids, and you hope they never forget what?
Be on time. God, be on time.
Skill?
It's a simple skill. Be on time. Be responsible. You know, if you need to bring something, bring it. It's be prepared. Be on time. Be a go-getter.
Yeah.
Like, you see someone carrying a bunch of stuff, just help them. Don't be like, do you need help? Like, just simple things like that. I just feel like simple life skills. You know, you see someone that looks sad, ask them how they're doing. I don't care if you don't know them. Be like, hey, are you okay? And then take the time to connect with people outside of your circle. I think it's really, I think too many people are caught in their circle. And so they're not really going out and like saying hi to someone they don't know.
Yeah. Well, last question here. What does "it's not about me" mean to you?
Oh, it's humility. It is literally the definition of humility, which is you're important, but it's not all about you. So as a coach, people always say, oh man, how did you do that? I'm like, I didn't. I said, we did. I had great players who believed in what we were doing, and we worked really, really well together. It was a team effort. And I think everybody has to remember that one person cannot make a team, but one person can break a team. So you have to make sure that you are all in, but also know that in that you're important, but it's not all about you.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. Appreciate the time that we had, kicking off the first one.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll have you on again, I'm sure. But
to redo it.
Yeah, maybe. But thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good seeing you, Coach Saunders.
Skyhook Power.
Yep.